to introduce yourself to your fellow club members. Time for the project is 4 to 6 minutes. Good luck.
So we have Arlene, who's going to speak about her speech title is When I Think of Home. Good luck.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. Good afternoon, Toastmasters of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Home. What comes to your mind when you think about the word home? Some would define it as a house, apartment, residence, a place where you live. But for me, it's much more than that. Home for me is just like what the song said. It said it beautifully, and it's exactly my thought. Home is a place where there's love that's overflowing. Home is where your heart is. Many people say that there's no place like home. And that place for me is my hometown, where I was born, the Philippines. A lot of you, I can see a lot of you here are foreigners, and foreigners would agree with me when I say that even if Singapore is such a beautiful country, no matter how beautiful Singapore is, it's always my hometown that I will always go back to. Philippines is not just where I was born. Philippines is where I first learned how to walk, talk, love, and live. My family is still living in the Philippines. My dad passed away 16 years back, but I still have my mom. I have 5 siblings, and they all have their families. I have 9 nephews and nieces. This alone is more than enough reason for me to go back to Philippines regularly. I would often go even on a weekend, fly on a Friday night, and go back to Singapore on a Sunday night. Not only my family, but I have friends. I have friends from childhood, friends from my middle school, friends from college, and even friends from my previous job. Friends whom I shared friendship, which I call timeless and boundless. No matter the time, no matter the distance, even if I lived in Singapore for a long time, I have always maintained this bond with them. I shared about my family, I shared about my friends, but not only people. Philippines itself as a country is a place that is very close to my heart, not only because I was born there, but Philippines is a very beautiful country with many islands, with many beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains, and it's a place that is carved in my heart. It's one day my wish that I would be able to travel in many islands in the Philippines. So that's where my first home is. After graduation from university, I just worked in the Philippines for almost 2 years. Then after 2 years, I already flew to Singapore and worked here. I spent almost half my life here in Singapore. I have lived half my life here in Singapore, which is why I call Singapore my home away from home. Yes, that's right. Not only did I establish my career here in Singapore, but I've already built my family here. I'm single, but I have a village I call my family. I have my friends whom I have shared my ups and downs with, friends from work, even friends from the Philippines in my first company who all transferred here in Singapore, and I have friends from my church. Not only do I have what I call a family here in Singapore that I just spend partying with or go home at night and just chit chat, but Singapore is a place where I have found a cause higher than my life. 10 years back, me alongside with 7 of my friends from my church in the Philippines, we pioneered our church here in Singapore also. And for most of you, you know that Singapore has many Filipino domestic helpers. So it's one of my burdens to reach out to them. That's why every Sunday afternoon, alongside with my friends, we would often organize activities for domestic helpers because it's quite painful to see them just loitering around Lucky Plaza. So we would organize activities like Zumba sessions. We also go out to see movies. Not only that, but we want them to have a different perspective in life. So we would also arrange activities like go to Malay Heritage Museum. We went to Images of Singapore. So just that they can explore other things other than cleaning up in the houses and other than loitering in Lucky Plaza. So this is what makes Singapore my home away from home. Another place that I call my home is Korea. It's funny because I don't have a family there. I don't even know anybody in Korea. But somehow, for some reason, Korea feels like my home as well. Maybe because I'm a Korean drama fan. I am fond of Korean dramas. But 2007 was the first time I went to Korea. I haven't watched a single drama back then yet. It was a prayer study tour that my church has organized. So when we went to Korea, we visited different churches, we visited prayer mountains, we visited different palaces, and we also have the educational part of understanding their culture. We went to the Independence Hall and Martyrs Hall. 2007 is love at first sight for me for Korea. And I call it history after that. Just last October, I went there with my sister and my nephews. And I plan to go there annually and visit different places to study more of their culture. Will my list of homes go on? Maybe yes. Because I will always go back to how I define home. Home is where love overflows, and home is where your heart is. Thank you.